All right, guys, let's rock and roll. Welcome back to another episode of Sex, Drugs, and Soul. Today, I'm super excited. I've been looking forward to chatting with this woman for a few weeks now. It's Susan Bratton. She's an intimacy expert to millions, with an M, millions. And she's an author of 44 books. So we had an idea of what we were going to talk about, and we completely threw it out the window and like dropped in for a few minutes before kicking off this podcast and decided that we were going to give you like a more intimate, deep conversation, kind of like you're a fly on the wall and about inside scoop or insight into my current dating life. So it's going to be a little vulnerable or more vulnerable than some episodes. And she's all about expanding our pleasure potential and what mindset we bring to our relationships and sexuality and sensuality. I'm super excited about this deep personal conversation. We're both two sexual sovereign women from two different generations, and I am open and malleable to be guided. So I'm super pumped. Thank you. I'm a little nervous, but I'm also pumped. It's like that exciting hummingbird heart feeling.
Oh, I love hummingbird heart.
Mm,
That's so sweet. Well, it was just that was like the pivotal moment when we started talking, and I've been looking forward to our conversation. And thank you for having me. Thanks for inviting me on. When you said to me, I have a date this weekend with a couple, and I have a local lover as well. And I thought to myself, "Oh boy, can I give you some good advice?" And I think it's so nice that you're willing to be so vulnerable about what you're doing because
mhm.
I've been married for 34 years, but I've been open for over 20.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and, so I've been through every permutation of every branch of the tree of consensual, ethical, non-monogamy that there
Mm.
is. I
Mhm.
have tried every flavor, and I've recently been enjoying the moniker relationship anarchy
Mhm.
because
Yes.
it's like, okay, well, what does everybody in this, what we would have called a polycule, what does everybody in this collected group of people who are around me and loving me and I'm loving them, what do they all want? Because it's always going to be different. Every person's so
Mhm.
different. They want and have different needs in the relationship. One of the 44 books and programs, I'm a publisher of passionate lovemaking techniques. And one of the 44 books and programs that I publish, 34 of them are my own work. 10 of them are the work of my mentors whose lineages I am lucky enough to carry on.
Mm.
So I carry on some really incredible experiences for people. And one of them is about seduction. And that was what you originally asked me to come on to talk about, stealth seduction, because that intrigued you, which is interesting. But one of the other books that's probably one of my most popular because it's one I can actually go on television to talk about because television is allergic to sex. Like they'll have
Mhm.
crazy sexual, you know, um movies that show patriarchal style sex, but you can't go on a morning show and talk about anything. So I had to build a relationship book to get on TV. And the book
Mhm.
that I built was essentially a workbook that helps you figure out what it is you want most
Mm.
out of your relationship.
Mhm.
And then how to help your partner figure out or partners, what
Mhm.
they want most so you can meet them in their desire for having the experience with you that satisfies them.
Mhm.
So, like, what I want is I need security because 'cause I'm a woman and I don't walk safe in the world, especially as a
Mm.
sexpert, but I want freedom because 'cause I'm a sexually sovereign woman.
Mhm.
I want honesty because I can't navigate without complete and total honesty, even if it makes me look bad, you look bad, shit look bad. I don't care. I want to
Mhm.
fucking know what's going on at all times because it keeps me safe and helps me be free.
Mhm.
And I want variety, novelty. Oh my God, can you see a theme here? Like that's what I want. That's not what my husband wants, or my boyfriend wants, or my girlfriend wants.
Mhm.
They have totally different relationship values. So once we all know our values and we get up every day and we meet the needs of ourself and our partners, and we just focus on giving them what they want, not treating them the way we wanna be treated, but the way they wanna be treated. My television hook was
Mm.
they would tee me up, they'd show me in the green room, and they'd be like, "Coming up next, intimacy expert to millions, Susan Bratton, on why the golden rule might be ruining your relationship or mucking up your marriage,"
Oh.
right? And they're
Mhm.
like, "Well, what's the golden rule? Do unto others as you have them do unto you." It's
Mhm.
pro quo. That shit don't scale, right? It doesn't work. But the platinum rule, treat your
Mm.
partner the way they wanna be treated and have them do
Mhm.
for you. That really resonated with people. So it was a really good hook because I know you're a
Mhm.
writer, and we writers, we love our sticky hooks, right? And I just think that's really like relationship anarchy is the new relationship. My little book was called My Relationship Magic. It's at
Mm.
myrelationshipmagic.com. Don't buy it on Amazon. Buy it for a third the price that my
Mhm.
relationship it's just a downloadable workbook. And it was just so funny that relationship anarchy is kind of to me the next generation of my book relationship.
Mhm. I love the concept of relationship anarchy. I just think that it values everybody's, gives equal weight to every person that's gonna be in an interaction, and there's a part of me that's always been a rebel too, that I'm like, "Okay, there's something that I
Me
like
too,
about
girl.
the word anarchy," or doing things that,
Yeah.
my own way, dancing to the beat of my own drum and versus,
Yes.
like, what society tells me or how I should show up. And
Exactly.
so, like, there's just something I'm like, "Okay, this is juicy." I'm like, "I might have to download this workbook before I go to Mexico with my couple,"
Right. Oh, I'll
because
just
I'm
send
like,
it
"We've
to you,
got some
honey. I'll
homework
send
to
it
do,
to you.
babes."
Yeah, I will send it to you, don't
Yeah,
worry.
yeah. And, so it's fun and exciting and it's new. I'm just in a time period in my life where, I'm exploring and I don't wanna, like, fixate a story or, like, a future possible outcome onto or an assumption on someone. I'd rather go in with clarity and openness, and I've been open with both dynamics as far as, like, "Hey, this is where I'm at right now. Might change, but this is what's lighting me up. This is what's turning me on. Um, I'm cool if it's not cool with you, but I just want to be, authentic, open, and honest with you and take that girl going forward. And I know I value depth, no matter, which container it's in, whether it's with the couple, whether it's with my lover in Austin. I'm like, how much
Right.
I was going to give a detail. I was like, I don't know if I want to say that exact detail, but yeah, so any kind of insider guidance as far as how to know it's very new.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and I think prior, I think I used to try to fit myself and as a square into a round hole or something like, and so and like what? But I didn't even realize that polyamory or open relationships or relationship anarchy was a thing. I grew up in the Bible Belt and like all of this scenarios. But I always felt like I had so much love in my heart to give.
Mhm.
And I feel like there's pros and cons or challenges or light and shadow to every different dynamic. But if you're approaching it with honesty and intentionality, I mean, I really think it's like a breeding ground for something really beautiful to blossom.
Yeah.
Eh,
Like maturity.
mm.
A real breeding
But I
ground
also
for
want to be immature
maturity.
too,
Oh
or at
god,
least
yeah.
playful, Yeah,
Playful.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
not
yeah.
yeah, I know. I think that's very important. Yeah, the idea of being in a triad is really, really fun, and I've had over 1,000 threesomes.
What?
So, I could definitely give you some things that I've done that have worked really well for me.
Mhm.
And, I also love that you have now you called it a cuddle partner, your lover a cuddle partner. I call it a research partner. I
Oh.
basically, and I got that from Dr. Patty Taylor, one of my mentors whose lineages I carry on. She's the one that taught me about the stealth seduction, and she's also the one that, bequeathed me the expanded orgasm practice, which is a
Mm.
clitoral stroking technique
Is that
that
like the Om
allows you
stuff? Okay.
it is.
Okay.
Was stolen from that same
Oh,
lineage.
okay.
And, but Om is a very transactional type of clit stroking technique. It's the same strokes. The downside is that it was very transactional and
Mm.
that group is currently
Mhm.
in court
Mhm.
for, uh, bad practices.
Mhm.
So I don't say it's Oming.
Mhm.
Because what the version of the stroke technique that I teach is, it comes from the original
Mm.
Morehouse, but it's got a more Kashmiri Shaivist tantra, approach, which is much more deep and heart connected.
Mm,
My what I write and publish are passionate lovemaking techniques and bedroom communication skills and intimate health and wellness. And my brand of sex techniques that is heart connected, conscious,
mm,
passionate lovemaking.
mhm,
That's the descriptor that I've used in my whole journey to describe the step-by-step approach I take to teaching you expanded orgasm skills, pleasure practices. Everything has to come from heart and consciousness. And
mhm,
so the expanded orgasm practice is a really interesting one because it is the practice, a sex technique that gives you the ability to touch, to feel,
mm,
palpably feel your connection to, choose your favorite word, source, Gaia,
mhm,
God, consciousness, whatever it might be. That friggin' clit stroke helps you realize that it's an ecstatic connection to source,
mhm,
and it's in a conjoined trance state with a lover.
mm,
And the original creators of this technique, they had a sex cult where they did this to each other. This is what people do. They learn how to connect to God, and they're like, "Let's all do this to each other." And, and I mean, you can't blame them,
let's
right? Like, if
research.
I yeah, and so they had established this concept of the research partner
Mm,
where you don't necessarily they don't have to be the fucking one, you know what I mean? They can be a cuddle partner, a research partner, someone who comes and strokes your clit to God, and
mhm,
that's your boundary. Like, "Yes, come over to my house, stroke my clit so I can touch source with
mhm,
you,
mm,
and let's go on this journey together." And we'll have dinner after, and that's, like, the container of our relationship or wherever your boundaries are.
mhm,
And that's another thing that I wanted to tell you as well is that I really think that boundaries are the path to being completely loved.
mhm,
And here's why. I was recently, a few years ago, my husband and I were in a relationship with a person, and I ended up not liking her over time. I
mm,
ended up being worried about her. I ended up worrying about her taking advantage of my very genius, but emotionally simple in some ways partner,
mm,
very kind and sweet,
mhm,
could be hurt, not wily, not savvy that way, and she was wily and savvy, and she worried me, and for a long time and I thought, "That bitch gonna take my man." And I thought it
mm,
to myself, but I was doing like, "I'm gonna be in compersion, and I'm going to allow, and I'm gonna be fine with what is," and, I would say my boundaries, and they would break them, and
mm,
I was like, "Well, I should just let them do what they want." And then, at the end of that whole thing, when it turned out to be a fucking disaster that almost ruined my marriage, like, I had to
mhm,
put it all on the line, and the
mhm,
mistake I made was I fucking knew it, and I
mm,
didn't hold my boundaries,
mm,
and when you hold your boundaries, when you say, "It's okay with me if you do this, but it's not okay with me if you do these things," and they do
mhm,
those things, and they
mm,
breach your boundaries, or you're with your couple and you're like, "Here are a couple of things that I just don't want to happen," and somebody does one of them. Like, I'll give you a really weird example. One of the things that I'm fussy about is that if I'm in a threesome with another woman, I don't like my partner to penetrate me and that woman without cleaning up between them. I
mhm,
don't want her vaginal microbiome mixing
mhm,
with
mm,
mine
mhm,
because I'm fussy about my vaginal microbiome. I
mhm,
keep it pristine and I don't like to
mhm,
introduce any bacterias that aren't my particular
Mhm.
vaginal biome
For
makeup.
sure. Protective of the pH.
And it's a lot of things. I mean, different it tends to cluster in ethnicity because of the foods that are eaten and
Mhm.
the way the biome is passed down through the birth canal
Mm.
into the child. Um, but really, it was so sweet. The last weekend, I had a foursome.
Mhm.
I'm in a relationship with my husband and my boyfriend has a new girlfriend, and she met us and loved us, and we liked her, and so now we're having some foursomes, and it's
Mhm.
really fun. I haven't done that in a long time. And, right when they were making love, I heard my husband say to her, "Oh, Susan doesn't like it if
Mm.
like, if I enter her after I've entered you, I'll need to get up and take a quick shower." And she's a doctor, which is great, like, she totally
Mhm.
that doesn't make
Mhm.
her feel bad, she totally gets it. But it's like, it made me feel so I was like, I hadn't had a foursome, I hadn't had sex with another woman in so long that I'd forgotten my own boundary, and my husband remembered it, and
Mm.
I was just like, "You see how great my man is?" Like that.
Mhm.
Oh, mwah.
Like, he's taking
God
care of
love
me, he's
him.
listening, he remembered. That makes me
He
feel
is
yeah.
managing my boundaries.
I love
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I had a conversation with him. Well, she, confided in me with that she's like, I'm nervous, I'm scared," like, she's about, like, the connection that you guys have, and, I'm like, "Look, like, I want to add to the dynamic, I want y'all to add to my life. If this is gonna cause too much of a rupture or something like that, I will see myself out." Like, I don't want to bring that kind of energy in, but I'm glad
Right,
that
you
she
want it to be
voiced it and
joy.
spoke to it. And I understand like the, shaky feeling or the nervousness or foundations, like especially because it's relatively new for them as well. And so it's like we're going super slow, like very slow, which is a-okay with me as far as,
Yes.
like, I want everyone to feel, like, grounded and safe in their decisions. There's been, like, big T and little t traumas in all of our lives, so we're like, "How do we go into this in a conscious, intentional, heart-expanding way, versus, like, just rushing into something and, um, or having too many," they're both sober too, so it's like there's no, extraneous, activities, and I was gonna tell you, like, I also agree with, like, the clit stimulation. I love tantra and, like, have had some different bodywork sessions, and to me, I've had, like, some kind of psychedelic, pleasure-induced altered states of consciousness just through touch and just through, like, sensual exploration and experiences and feelings. I'm like, "What is that? What did I tap into?" And, like, to find God through sex whenever it's
Right.
like it's interesting, like, okay, I grew up thinking that, "Oh, if I do this or da, da, da," but also the taboo turned me on, and it gave me that
Mhm,
sense of aliveness,
mhm.
and I don't know where I'm going with this,
Why do
but
you think religion tries to suppress sexuality?
because it's so
Because if you
powerful,
because
and
if you can connect to God without them, why the fuck
mm,
come sit in the church pew and tithe?
so mic drop.
Control.
Yeah, control,
Right,
fear-based, manipulation, mm, and
right. I'm
so
uncontrollable. So are you.
oh, I love
You are a woman who cannot be controlled. You are in control of yourself.
mm,
You are the control.
mm,
You decide. I love that.
mm.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
On your threesome coming up, what are there any, like, sexy things that you're thinking about? Like, are you having any, like, sexy fantasies about certain things you wanna do? Like, you have any, like, experiences you wanna have, sex positions you wanna have, anything like that?
Well, I'm definitely feeling drawn to explore more with her.
Mm,
Because I had that like in the younger years or settings, like, taboo, like maybe as a kid, we would sneak away and like kiss and play or like play doctor or those sort of things. And so there's a little like nervousness, like, oh my God, like I know a woman's body, but like to have it, the practice and experience with another woman. But I'm really craving like that sensuality and that softness and the desire to kiss and please and oral and just all of that juiciness and touch. And I also love like even just like forehanded like massages and weaving in like the 5 elements or like the different types of touch. And because that helps bring me into my body when it's like, I don't know whose hand is where, or there's like different sensations, whether it's fiery or whether it's earth or more watery. I'm like, whoa, like I've felt so much pleasure before that I'm like, I would love to experiment with that with them.
Mhm.
I'm gonna bring some like different, like maybe like a different feather or like this like little chain thing for like a different cooling sensation just to kind of like glide across the body.
Mhm.
So we'll see and play and have conversations. So I definitely have that. But
You
she and
you
I haven't
remind me.
actually been intimate yet together. So
Oh, that'll be fun.
yeah. So we'll
You're
see.
reminding me of an Austin-based couple who has a brand called litup.love,
Mm,
and they have all kinds of adorable sensation play toys that I think you would
mm.
like. They have everything from little scratchy claws. It's lit up,
I might.
Litup dot Love. And, they have the cutest stuff. They have, these little furry mitts, and they have the chains, and they have little floggery things.
Mm.
I'd take a little suitcase full of some of that
I
kind
know,
of
I
stuff
know.
with
I'm
me
like, I
'cause
might
I
have to
think
check a
you're gonna
bag.
like that.
It might be a fun experience to go through customs. Like, girl,
Oh god,
I
I
did have
know.
a situation one time where I took like, I was like in Mexico with someone, and my suitcase started vibrating, and I was like, oh my god, they're like, ma'am, your toothbrush is going off or something. I was like, yeah, my toothbrush, which I guess in a pinch, if you want, but so yeah, no, I'm like,
Yeah,
I might have to like actually check a bag, which I don't like to do, but
yeah. Right.
yeah.
It's funny when I come to Austin, you know how Austin has the baggage claim where it comes down
Mhm.
the ramp onto the carousels? My suitcase is always vibrating down that ramp. I always joke like, "Hey, if you see a suitcase vibrating on a carousel, look around, you'll probably find me."
Like that's like the air tag, like the pin bar, the sonar radar, like going off like the.
Well, I wanna give you a couple of ideas
Yeah, for sure.
for your
Please
3.
do.
So, one of them is that I always like to have, like, an opening circle where we all
Mm.
sit around and we talk about our desires, our
Mhm.
fears, and our boundaries,
Mhm.
and that gets us connected, touching, heart connected, looking at each other, being really present,
Mm.
and it kind of brings down the fear a little bit
Mhm.
because you're all doing that, and then once you've kind of gotten all that out, I like when we do this, I don't know, kind of like, idea roundtable where we take turns throwing out ideas for
Mm.
things we could do.
Mm.
And it doesn't have to be that you're going to do it. And you
Mhm.
could say, "I'm not even sure I want to do this,
Yeah.
but it's been in my mind," you
Mhm.
know? And, I think that's a really, really fun thing to do because certain people have certain ways they think about sex, and it's really
Mhm.
fun to think about the difference. Like, my husband, if I say to him, "Okay, we're having a foursome. What are some of the sex positions we could do?" He'll be like, "Well, okay, let's see." And he'll come up with like 17 different sex positions. He's really good at, of course, depending on the body dynamics, you know? He's so cute. He's always the
At
one
this
that we're
angle
like,
and with this velocity and
we're always like, "Tim, give us some sex position ideas," you know? It's so cute. And there are a couple that I really like in a male, one man, two woman, so FMF
Mhm.
is what that's called, FMF, triad, and, or threesome, and one of them is that it's really fun to give the guy what's called a dually blow. Have you ever heard of that?
I'm getting an image in my head right now.
It's
But
basically where you 2 are, so we did this in our foursome last week, it was really fun. One one of the guys laid down flat, and one woman was riding his face, and the
Mm,
other woman was riding his man cannon, and they were facing each other. We were facing each other, and then the second man was standing up, and his, man hammer was, I'm just trying to use a bunch of words
yeah,
that
no,
aren't
I'm
like
like, melt I was
flag.
like, "Can" I'm like, "Hell yes."
Yes, his man hammer, he kind of put it so the girls were in an what's called an
Mhm.
A-frame on top of the bottom man, but then the 2nd man kinda slid
Mhm.
his man cannon in between us, and we, like,
Mhm.
fought for it with our
Yeah.
lips.
Well, that was a better visual than even I imagined.
Isn't that cute?
Yes,
It's
yes.
fun because everybody's getting
Mhm.
stimulated, and it's a lot of fun.